There are many different theories and approaches to learning, each with different benefits and drawbacks. The learner, teacher, and content to be learned will all affect the effectiveness and applicability of each theory and approach to learning. Personally, I've found that learning by doing has most supported my approach to learning in this online course. At its core, learning by doing is about learning the task or skill by simply performing it and learning on the fly. It allows a learner to take their theoretical knowledge or what they've seen from a master or teacher and apply it in real situations or ones that closely resemble real life. It puts them in highly complex situations that may not necessarily be able to be represented in a classroom setting. This way, they can see the outcomes and feedback received in real scenarios and improve their skills and application of theory. Learning by doing has many categories, including apprenticeship, experiential learning, adventure learning, and cooperative learning. Throughout my life, I've always found that despite being able to learn skills and gain knowledge through other forms of learning, such as lectures or group discussions, the real test for me has been when it comes to using that knowledge in the real world. For example, a classic form of learning by doing has been found in more hands-on activities and tasks. For me, I saw this in all of the sports I played growing up. The coach could tell me how to throw a ball when I was starting, but I wouldn't truly learn the skill until I tried it myself. More recently, when I joined Laurier University, I applied for and was lucky enough to get into the co-op program for business. This allowed me to have work terms in real companies where I could apply theory I learned in class, such as forecasting. This is a great example of learning by doing in an area that isn't as hands-on or physical. However, I still benefited greatly through the experiential learning opportunities. When it comes to this course specifically, I continued to apply the learning approach of learning by doing. One of the earliest examples of this was when I first joined the course and had to create a comic strip introducing myself using Pixton. I had never done this before and wasn't familiar with Pixton. And when I went on the website, I saw that there were videos and text descriptions of the features of the website that could guide a new user. However, as I've typically relied on learning by doing, I skipped over this and dove straight into making the comic. At first, I was a little bit lost as there were many options to customize the look of the frames in the comic. However, it didn't take long for me to get my footing and master the tools Pixton had to offer. From there, another significant example of my approach to learning was in the third lesson when we had to learn a new task. I chose the task of solving a difficult Sudoku puzzle. I'd never played Sudoku before, but was very curious and interested in it. I tried watching videos and asking friends about how to play and gather tips, but I found that it wasn't really helping me. Instead, I decided to start with the easiest level of difficulty and figure out the techniques that I would use myself. Through that, I learned the rules of the game, as well as how to use the note feature, which helped me significantly down the road. After completing some of the easier puzzles, I worked my way up to the hard difficulty, where I was able to master the task of Sudoku, or at least get pretty good at it. So in the same lesson, there was also an experiment where we had to perform multitasking, which involved having to recall words both with and without distractions. This was another area where, by performing the experiment and putting myself in the real situation where I was multitasking, I felt as though I was able to have a deeper understanding of the impact of multitasking on our learning. I was able to experience how multitasking negatively affected my ability to focus and learn, which helped me better understand the impact of multitasking, more so than the written lecture notes. Finally, one of the other learning theories that we've learned about in this course is connectivism, which involves learning through the flow of information among networks of interconnected nodes and is beyond the level of individuals. When learning this theory, I wasn't able to fully grasp it when reading the assigned textbook reading. However, when I reflected back on some of the things I've done in the course, I realized that I had taken part in the connectivism style of learning. The discussion posts that I have made and the points and learnings I've gathered from my peers, as well as the tweets I've created, read, and replied to from my classmates have all been a form of connectivism. This helped me better understand what the theory is about and how we can create knowledge through that style of learning. Overall, I've utilized many different learning styles and theories throughout my life and even within this course. However, by putting myself into real-world situations and learning by doing, I've been able to better understand the theory and concepts we're learning in this course, as well as in my life in general. So as you can tell, I chose to use video as my communication medium for this learning assessment, and I did so for a few reasons. First, I believe that the audio-visual style of video best supports the learning by doing approach, as it most closely represents face-to-face, in-person learning. Because of this, the student can best see how a specific task or skill is performed, which will then allow them to better mimic and imitate this skill or task in the field when they attempt to learn by performing it. When looking at apprenticeship, a subsection of learning by doing, we can really see how this fits. So in general, apprenticeship involves taking someone who is very skilled and masterful at a task and getting them to perform the task that needs to be learned while the student is watching. Then the student will learn by attempting to perform the task they just saw, while receiving feedback from the more skilled teacher. In some cases, text or graphics could be used to show or explain to the student how to perform the task that they need to learn before they try it. However, having both the audio and visual aspects of the master performing the task will be much more effective in showing all the details and intricacies of what needs to be performed, which only the video medium can provide. Furthermore, in the new digital world, we see that it is more convenient and feasible to model behavior through a video format in some cases, rather than doing so in person. For example, with the introduction of augmented reality, we can see that some organizations are using augmented reality glasses to send a live video of what a trainee is doing. Then a more experienced person can communicate with the trainee, guiding them on what to do. This is all supported by the video medium that is being transmitted back and forth between the two. On top of this, learners can also utilize videos recorded by master practitioners of them performing certain tasks and then attempt to replicate it. This is particularly useful as it allows users to pause, rewind, and rewatch parts of the task that the master is performing, helping them get a better grasp of the concept and task. This was spoken about in the TED Talk by Salman Khan from the Khan Academy. Therefore, the video medium allows for teachers to better guide and support trainees rather than simply having to read text or look at a graphic. This is important as a critique of learning by doing is that the learner is not guided enough under this approach. So next, an intellectual or cognitive apprenticeship model is different from the typical manual physical skills being learned. This is due to the fact that these skills and tasks cannot be viewed as easily. Due to this, it's crucial that the master and learner can not only see what each other are doing, but can also speak to the context in which they are performing the task. Again, video fits quite well with this form of apprenticeship, as the medium of video is audio-visual. Therefore, the master and learner can see what each other are doing while simultaneously being able to speak to each other and describe what they are thinking or feeling. This could not be done using other mediums such as text or graphics. Finally, one of the limitations or downsides of learning by doing is that one skillful teacher can only manage and assist a certain number of trainees at a time, limiting the scale of this approach to learning. However, through the use of video, the number of trainees can be greatly increased and scaled up with much more convenience. For example, the expert can post a video of a task showing the details and intricacies of the task to be performed as if the learners were there in person. Then, when not engaged in the task, virtually respond to learners. Overall, the medium of video most closely represents our reality and learning in a face-to-face context when compared to the other mediums of text and graphics. This allows learners and masters in a learning by doing environment to better see what each other are doing and provide adequate instructions and feedback to be able to attempt to learn and perform a new task. Finally, another reason as to why I chose the video format for this project is due to my relative inexperience with it. At first, this may sound counterintuitive. If I have more experience and expertise creating projects using text and graphics, why would I not choose one of them? This circles back to the learning approach I am focusing on, learning by doing. I wanted to use this assignment as another chance to follow this learning approach and learn how to make videos and use new editing tools and features by using them. Rather than watching tutorials or reading instructions on how to use the new editing software, I'll be diving headfirst into it to learn a new skill while creating this assignment. I've done many projects where I've had to write a report or essay, and I've made many graphics through the form of PowerPoints or infographics in courses throughout university. I thought that it would fit well if I learned how to edit and create videos by editing and making one for this course. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation on learning by doing, how it applies to myself, my learning in this course, and how my chosen format of a video works quite well with this approach to learning. And overall, thank you for taking the time to listen.